Welcome to Anfield Signal family. Arne Slot just revealed secret FSG talks, 7 players out versus Fulham, and Carragher's honest verdict. You won't believe it. Let's go. Arne Slot lifts lid on FSG talks as Liverpool problems postponed after Jurgen Klopp exit. Liverpool boss Arne Slot has spoken about the issues the Reds have been facing and the backing from the club's ownership. Arne Slot believes Liverpool postponed the inevitable problems of moving away from the era of predecessor Jurgen Klopp by winning the Premier League title last season. But the Reds boss insists owners Fenway Sports Group are in agreement over the issues that have left him facing serious scrutiny over his position after a hugely disappointing campaign. While there was minimal change to the squad in the immediate aftermath of Slot replacing Klopp in June 2024, Liverpool embarked on an extensive overhaul as champions last summer with £450 million spent on new players and almost £300 million brought in from sales. That transition, though, has proven far from painless, with further upheaval on the horizon after Andy Robertson confirmed on Thursday he will join Mohamed Salah in leaving on a free transfer in the summer, while Ibrahima Konate's future remains in doubt, despite reports in France this week suggesting the centre-back is close to agreeing a new deal at Anfield. And Slot has revealed the challenges of breaking up a successful squad and overseeing the lessening impact of long-established players were among the chief talking points with the Liverpool hierarchy from the moment he assumed the reins. I'm not saying this is what we are seeing, but this is one of the things we are aligned on, not now, but 1.5 years ago, he said. It is normal in football that you have cycles. Mo and Robbo have announced they are leaving, but I'm really happy that they have worked with all of the signings we did last summer, because they, new signings, have been able to see what the club means to them and how hard they work. It is a normal process at successful clubs, or any clubs, that there is an end to a cycle. That's not something that is new to us. The great thing is that we maybe postponed that cycle with last season. Injuries, adaptation problems for a number of new signings, and the impact of Diogo Jota's tragic death last July have all contributed to Liverpool being left scrambling for a top 5 finish and having been edged near a Champions League exit by the 2-0 quarter-final first leg defeat at Paris Saint-Germain in midweek. And Slot has detailed he is on the same page as Liverpool's ownership group, along with sporting director Richard Hughes and FSG chief executive of football Michael Edwards, regards what has gone wrong this season. I can come up with all the reasons why this season has been so difficult, said the Reds boss. Everyone can see them, so why should I always tell them the reasons, as that becomes making excuses? And it is not good to make excuses. They are so clear and obvious that everyone can see them. If you don't want to see them for reasons, no problem, but it is so obvious and so clear, it is not difficult to see all the problems we faced. I cannot tell you what we are saying to each other, but I think we all see the same. By that I mean the ownership, Richard, Michael, everyone. Everyone sees what is happening in front of our eyes, and we are all aligned in what we are seeing and on the reasons for it. Asked about the manner of the support he receives, Slot added, "It's not so easy to sit down with the owners because they are from America, so, as you would expect, it's phone calls and messages. With Richard, he is here a lot of the time and we are sitting down together, and if he is not here, then it is phone calls. But it's not about every day they are saying, we support you, we support you. It is talking through what we see is happening, and sometimes it is not always needed to say, I am supporting you, but you can feel that support. I felt that support since I've been here, and definitely recently. Liverpool will hope to address a run of 3 successive defeats when they look to strengthen their claims for Champions League qualification with the visit of 9th place Fulham on Saturday evening. Slot is expected to heavily rotate for the second of 3 games in 6 days, with Robertson and Salah, along with Cody Gakpo, Rio Ngumoa and Curtis Jones, all vying for a start. And asked if Liverpool's poor form had made him question himself, the Reds boss replied, "It is completely normal that you have doubts. I don't know if doubt is the right word, but you should reflect on the decisions you make. That is not always to say when I have won I made the right decision, and when we lose I make the wrong decision. The other day, many say we changed the tactics towards PSG. We would never know the outcome would have been if we played the usual 4-3-3. Now, I can understand people say this was the wrong decision because we lost 2-0. If you win things, you think you make more right decisions than if we lose. I would question that, to be honest, whether I made more right decisions last season when we won than this season. No one will see it like this. Liverpool lineups for Fulham as Alexander Isak and Mohamed Salah, decisions made. Our Liverpool FC writers select their lineups for Saturday's evening crucial Premier League against Fulham at Anfield. Liverpool have no time to feel sorry for themselves. Yes, they are out of the FA Cup, and yes, they stand on the brink of an exit from the Champions League. Add that to the fact that their hopes of retaining the Premier League title they won at a canter last season are long gone, and there is no disputing it has been a disappointing campaign. But Arne Slot and his players must rally themselves and achieve what is the club's minimum objective minus qualifying for next season's Champions League. And Liverpool can take a big step in the right direction this evening with victory at home to a Fulham side who have ambitions of gate-crashing the European places. So how should Reds boss Slot line up, given he may have one eye on Tuesday's Champions League quarter-final decider against Paris Saint-Germain, who will be favourites to progress, but whose 2-0 first-leg advantage is not insurmountable? Paul Gorst, the back five experiment at PSG can be consigned to the dustbin for this one. It's 4 at the back for me, and a return for Andy Robertson, who is set for a hero's ovation after his announcement that he will leave at the end of the season. Jeremy Frimpong starts at right back. In midfield, Curtis Jones returns in place of Alexis McAllister. Dominic Szoboszlai and Ryan Gravenberch keep their places. I'm going to start Alexander Isak. The Sweden international needs minutes and may likely tire as the games wears on after so long out, but he could still be important this season. Mohamed Salah and Cody Gakpo return also. Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike can wait in the wings. My team, 4-3-3. Mamadashvili, Frimpong, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, Jones, Szoboszlai, Salah, Isak, Gakpo. Ian Doyle, not long to go now, folks. Just the 7 Premier League games remain in a season that feels like it has gone on forever for Liverpool. Fulham are up next at Anfield this evening. What, though, is Reds boss Arne Slot to do with this the second of 3 games in 7 days, and how often that has been asked of Liverpool this campaign? There are going to have to be changes. Not in goal, though. That remains Georgi Mamadashvili. And with a return to 4-2-3-1, Andy Robertson can come in at left-back and Dominic Szoboszlai can go to right-back for this one. Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk are the centre-backs. Midfield also sees some alterations with Curtis Jones and Alexis McAllister, the deeper duo, and Florian Wirtz in the number 10 role. Up front, it's all changed with Rio Ingamoa left, Mohamed Salah on the right and Cody Gakpo down the middle. My team 4-2-3-1, Mamadashvili, Szoboszlai, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robertson, Jones, McAllister, Salah, Wirtz, Ingamoa, Gakpo. Liverpool cannot sanction transfer. A scale of recruitment issue becomes clear. In the latest Blood Red column, Ian Doyle looks at the impending exit of Andy Robertson that will further cut ties with the Jurgen Klopp era. Nothing lasts forever, and as highlighted by the reaction among Red supporters to the news, Andy Robertson will follow Mohamed Salah out the door at the end of the season. The leaving of Liverpool can be grieving for many. Much of that, of course, can be put down to timing. Nobody can dispute Salah has had a significant drop-off in form this term, although that he is departing on a free transfer continues to perplex, while Robertson has very much been second string to Milos Kerkez at left-back. But Liverpool's disappointing campaign has prompted more than a touch of nostalgia to be attached to the prospect of both veterans stepping out for the club one final time on the closing weekend clash at home to Brentford on May 24th. With Jordan Henderson and Callum Kelleher returning in opposition, the ties with the Jurgen Klopp era will be impossible to ignore that afternoon. And given Liverpool are by no means guaranteed to have secured Champions League qualification by the final whistle, a failure to finish in the top 5 will only increase the pining for yesteryear when Robertson and Salah bid what are sure to be emotional farewells. However, there is already significant distance between now and Klopp's tenure, as there should be. It's approaching 2 years since the German left, and his successor Arne Slot has won a Premier League crown in that time. Wistful thinking of the past completely ignores the reality of a present where Trent Alexander-Arnold, Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez and Jarell Quansah have also long departed. Those old days are gone. Indeed, come the start of next season, at present there could only be 2 players in the squad who started the Champions League final of 2022. Although Liverpool remain hopeful, a deal can be thrashed out with Ibrahima Konate before his present contract expires in the summer. And there continues to be intrigue over the long-term future of Alisson Becker, despite the Reds having taken up their option to extend the Brazilian stay by another 12 months. While 33 is by no means old for a goalkeeper, Alisson's injury record in recent years has started to impact his game, if only with the ball at his feet, rather his shot-stopping prowess. And his availability has become unreliable. A great player is only as good as, well, yours truly if they aren't fit. It was telling that 13 months after Alisson posted one of the greatest Liverpool goalkeeping performances in victory at Paris Saint-Germain, he was recovering from his latest hamstring setback when this week Georgi Mamardashvili impressed in helping keep the score down at the Parc des Princes. Mamardashvili will surpass Alisson's number of minutes in the Champions League this season should he feature in the Anfield return against PSG on Tuesday, with the Brazilian now unlikely to break the 40-game barrier in a campaign for the third successive year. And while the Georgian has been solid and shown promise, the problem for Liverpool is Mamardashvili is not Alisson. Nobody is, with the Brazilian having been the finest goalkeeper in the world for several years, and alongside Ray Clemence as the greatest to wear the gloves for the Reds. This points to an overarching issue with which Slot and the Liverpool recruitment team are having to contend. At various points in their careers, Salah and Robertson were also deemed among the best, if not the best, in their positions. The same could be said for Alexander-Arnold. In some respect, it is similar to the challenge Brendan Rodgers inherited in having to oversee the tail end of the careers of Anfield legends Jamie Carragher and then Steven Gerrard, ultimately with mixed results. Liverpool, though, weren't as good a squad then as the one Slot inherited and then tweaked to even greater success in his debut season before the difficulties of the current campaign in maintaining that level. Reports in Italy continue to claim Juventus will go strong with an attempt to lure Alisson back to Italy in the summer, but surely Liverpool and Slot cannot entertain the departure of another stalwart, even if it makes comparisons with Klopp's golden age all the more easy to make for those who are starting to take solace in looking back rather than setting sights on whatever the future might bring. Jamie Carragher doesn't like saying that as he issues Arne Slot verdict. The E-Show spoke to the former Liverpool vice-captain at this year's Grand National Ladies' Day about the Reds' poor form and why he loves Everton manager David Moyes. Jamie Carragher has issued his verdict on Arne Slot's future at Liverpool ahead of the Merseyside derby. The E-Show spoke to the Reds legend and boyhood Evertonian on the second day of this year's Grand National Festival at Aintree. Despite winning the Premier League last season, the Reds head coach has come under increasing pressure from Liverpool fans after a string of poor performances this season, which have left the Reds in a battle to qualify for the Champions League. They were dumped out of the FA Cup last weekend in a 4-4 battering away at Manchester City. Then, in the first leg of their Champions League quarter-final, they were comfortably beaten 2-0 away at PSG. Liverpool return to Premier League action tomorrow at Anfield against Fulham, followed by the second leg against PSG next Tuesday and the Merseyside derby against Everton at Hill Dickinson Stadium on Sunday. Slot insisted he has the complete support of the Liverpool hierarchy this morning. When the EHO asked Carragher at Ladies' Day if he was facing the biggest week of his Liverpool career so far, the former LFC vice-captain said, yes, from a Liverpool supporter's point of view, that's the way we look at it. Whether that's the way the ownership looks at that or not, I don't know. Obviously, you read media reports and you read between the lines, and it doesn't seem that's the case right now. But Liverpool have got some big games between now and the end of the season in the league. I think of Everton away, and I think of Man United away. And if they don't go well, obviously that heaps the pressure on him. But listen, I don't really like saying that. He's a manager who's won the league for Liverpool, so I love him for that, and I always will do. But it's high stakes, isn't it? And Liverpool have been a long way off where everybody expects to be this season. We know there's reasons for that as well, but the drop-off has been startling and really no one expected that. Carragher admitted he is not relishing the thought of this Liverpool team facing PSG again, as well as an in-form Everton next week who are chasing a place in Europe and face fellow chasers Brentford tomorrow. When asked if he is looking forward to the first derby at Everton's new stadium, he said, not at the moment, no. But listen, I think most Liverpudlians want the season to end really and just make sure we're in the Champions League for next season. There was a little bit of hope with maybe the cup competitions, but they look a little bit long gone. But you never know if they'll get an early goal at Anfield against PSG. They're a brilliant team and they've shown that against Liverpool the last couple of years. Everton, what they've done this season, Brentford are in a similar position as they are, knocking on the door of the Champions League in European places. So it'd be interesting what happens there tomorrow. That's a big game, but if Everton were to win that and then go into the derby, who knows what could happen. Carragher also heaped praise on Everton's manager David Moyes. Moyes has received criticism from some sections of the fan base during his second spell from his cautious approach at times and poor home form, but Carragher says he is the best manager the Blues have seen since title-winning boss Howard Kendall. Carragher said, "I love David Moyes. I think he's been a brilliant Everton manager. He's the best ever manager since Howard Kendall. What he did the first time round was fantastic, and what he's doing right now is amazing as well, with Everton a few points off the Champions League. The last 4 or 5 years have just been worrying, fighting relegation, so to have that turnaround, it's just brilliant. He's a brilliant Everton manager." Carragher added he was delighted to be at Aintree once again on Ladies' Day. He said, "I try to get here every year. The ladies look fantastic as they usually do. This is my favourite day, and hopefully I'll get a few winners. Everybody looks forward to it. Everyone gets dressed up, not just the women. The lads have a little go as well. We're delighted that we've got the Grand National. We make the most of it, and rightly so. 7 players missing Liverpool versus Fulham. As Alisson, injury update given. Liverpool faces a crucial game against Fulham at Anfield as the Reds return to Premier League action, with both sides heading into the clash with some big names missing. As many as 7 players are expected to be absent from Saturday's Premier League clash between Liverpool and Fulham, highlighting the toll of an increasingly congested fixture schedule. Arne Slot has faced a particularly challenging period since the Reds resumed action following the March international break. Liverpool was unceremoniously knocked out of the FA Cup quarter-finals by Manchester City last weekend, suffering a comprehensive 4-0 thrashing at the Etihad Stadium before Wednesday's Champions League quarter-final first leg against Paris Saint-Germain brought further misery. The Reds returned from the Parc des Princes on the wrong end of a 2-0 defeat, while Liverpool faces a considerable uphill battle ahead of next week's second leg at Anfield. Given PSG's extraordinary current form, its focus will now shift entirely to this weekend's league fixture against Fulham. With just 7 games remaining, the Reds find themselves 5th in the Premier League table, 5 points adrift of the top 4, although its current position would be enough for a place at Europe's top table next season. Nevertheless, should the club wish to secure European football for the 2026-27 campaign, a strong run-in domestically or outright Champions League glory will be required, the latter appearing increasingly unlikely in light of this week's result. Slot's vital Premier League push must begin this weekend, yet it is no secret that his squad has been significantly weakened by a string of notable injury setbacks of late. Despite Alexander Isak making his return against PSG with limited minutes, his first competitive appearance since breaking his leg against Tottenham in December, 4 others will require additional time on the sidelines before they are ready to feature, reports the Liverpool Echo. Alisson Becker has been working tirelessly to recover from a recent setback that has kept him sidelined since Liverpool's mid-March fixture with Galatasaray ahead of the international break. However, Saturday's encounter with Fulham looks to have come a touch too soon for the Brazilian shot-stopper. Slot spoke about the goalkeeper during his pre-match press conference. "We don't get the player back yet, but Alisson is working hard to get his way back. He won't be in this weekend." Conor Bradley, meanwhile, is anticipated to remain absent for the remainder of the season following a knee injury sustained against Arsenal at the turn of the year, while Wataru Endo faces a similar outlook due to a foot injury picked up against Sunderland in February. Giovanni Leone has also yet to feature for his club since his debut against Southampton in the Carabao Cup back in September, where he suffered a season-ending ACL injury. Isak may also find his playing time restricted once more as he continues to gradually ease himself back into contention. However, Liverpool is not the only side contending with injuries going into this weekend's fixture. When questioned whether supporters might see Kevin again before the campaign concludes, Fulham boss Marco Silva said, "Let's see. Okay, he is very positive, so we have to go step by step. For the next one, no, but we have 7 games to play. Let's see if at least we can have him or not, but right now, not sure about it." The Brazilian remains unavailable due to a foot injury sustained against Sunderland in February. Additionally, Silva has confirmed that Kenny Tete will be absent as he continues his rehabilitation from his own foot problem, while Harrison Reed will also be unavailable owing to a knee injury.